congratulations to Alice as Game 4 of the mini-match is underway between Hikaru and Mishra. We're invested.
Of course.
We
certainly are.
I mean, we chose the match, the playoffs thus far, so we've got to stay with it. Unlike their first game, which was a kind of a reverse Benoni, where Hikaru encouraged the move d5, d4. This time he's played it with queen e2 and c4 and rook d1. And it's quite clear that Hikaru is the one who's planning to play a d4 himself. So
if Abhimanyu is not really thinking about playing d4, but he can still try to play it, right? Because that bishop is luckily, kind of tying that knight on c6.
Right. By the way,
but he took on c4.
In old school, that was considered a bad decision to capture, because the idea was that this pawn on d3 can always be defended by knight to e1, and you get to play the move f4, g4, g5, knight e4. There's been a tremendous number of games over the centuries with this attack. I think they even called it the court grip. I mean, don't ask me why, but how do I know these things? Just reading too many chess novels.
Big question, do you go e4 right now,
No.
or do you trade the bishops?
Usually you play
a3 first.
f4,
Trade the bishops, bishop takes
F3,
g2,
king
knight.
takes.
knight takes g2.
Okay, usually you get in f4 too.
Bishop
He didn't
a1,
want to see
just
b5.
allowing the rook to
Yeah, he
target
didn't want to
him.
see b5, by the way. But normally speaking, I think you take with a king, any checks, you trade queens,
Rook to b7 and
f4.
f4.
So starting with maybe that
Right.
g4, but first a4, stopping your idea of pushing b5.
Now the knight comes
Absolutely.
back to b4.
And here we go. So this is all.
Because white has that really strong bishop in the corner on a1,
Yep.
so it wants to use that diagonal for
That
something
will
in the
get
future.
activated. g5 followed by knight to e4.
Now we will see
Activate that
knight
bishop.
e4, oh knight e4.
Is it
Maybe
time
I shouldn't
just,
give you the a4 pawn. That's
just
true.
to advance a little bit further? h4, h5. Don't forget that also the queen can slide to b2. I was about to say, in case there was any opportunities of attacking g7. So far,
I
just
like
gaining a little space.
I like
Maybe
what
even
white
with
is
this
On a
knight,
good day.
going to f3 and e5.
Yep.
I feel like it's Hikaru who has the opportunities in position.
And
I
Hikaru
don't
has
see what
already
black will-
1 minute advantage.
That's
Again, this is also the experience factor too, because I have a feeling that Hikaru is actually familiar with this position, and he's playing it quickly.
I mean, it's difficult for black to figure out here where you want to play. You cannot push.
cement the rook. By the way, knight d5 check starts to look attractive.
Yeah, that's what
as
I'm
well.
looking at, knight
Yeah.
d5.
It take the pawn and trade.
The pawn and think later. Yeah.
Oh, it just trades the rooks. Went ahead material.
Because now you can play against knight d5 if you want to. Because there is this e6. Just simplifying the position.
10 seconds for Mishra. Knight to h6, headed towards g4. Try to keep a check at least.
Well, Hikaru's being deliberate, but in this position again, I just get my king out of dodge, king h3. No, very, very deliberate. Knight g5. By the way, 6 draws between Wesley and Lanier. They go to Armageddon, and what's the clock times?
He made that move
How
in
did
1
he do
second.
it?
5 seconds for Mishra and 25 seconds for Hikaru.
Don't relax now if you are
No.
Hikaru, because the job is not yet done.
No, queen to d2, just...
Knight to d3. I'm starting to see those knights run around. 95, that's a good move.
That is
Yeah.
trading.
That is a good move. Take on c4 though. You cannot take on c4 because of queen to d1. You don't want that queen infiltrating there.
Yeah, you trade queens.
Okay.
But that's a lot of pawns, guys. I don't know. This is that easy.
This is not convincing.
a5, good move. Good move.
Wait, the pawn?
Check, 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 pawn e6 check and take on b6.
No, I can
Yes.
just take the
Take on
b6
b6
pawn.
and then check on e6.
Yes, that's a good move.
Oh, that was a winning...
e6.
Oh,
You
a winning
cannot
pawn
stop
breakthrough.
These pawns are running.
A beautiful b7.
King c7.
And Hikaru.
Wow.
Wow.
He got it done.
That is a good
Mishra
play. Mishra was this
devastated.
close to continue to win this match.
He could taste it. He could taste victory. Was
He
that-
got it done. Hikaru got it done.
Wow.
That's what experienced players do.
No, this was just some